Hey, 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 good afternoon. How are you guys doing? Thank you for checking in with me on Black Chair Talk. We are spotlighting another small business this Sunday, another book collection. He will be on the line pretty soon. He is a children's book author that we will talk to and get some information about what he has going on in these wonderful books that he has. I am going to put the website below so you guys could check it out, go order some books. Let's get now. Yep, I just pinned it at the bottom so you guys can hear about what's going on. There he is. Hello, Mr. Cross. How are you?
Hello, good morning. Good. Is it morning or afternoon? Good afternoon.
It's It's afternoon. We finally got you on. I know a couple of weeks ago we had to cancel because of everything that was going on in the world.
Yes,
So I'm glad you're able to get on with us today.
I'm happy to be here.
That's all we can ask for. So we are going to jump right into our interview so we can find out some information. If anybody has any questions, just drop it below and we will get those answered for you. So we're going to start off with you telling us how you got into writing children's books.
Wow, that's a good question. Well, the way that I got started on writing children's books was just by reading quite a few books, maybe too many books to my daughter. At the time, she was about 5 when I made the decision to write a children's book. But I was reading her countless books, and while reading the books, she would stop me throughout the books to ask me questions such as, "What is that? Where is that?" Ask me about nouns, people, places, and things like, "Are these things real?" And a lot of the things weren't real that were in the books. It was just in the imagination of the author. And I had to explain that to her. And I decided one day that I could write a better book than this. So I put my daughter to bed, sat down and wrote a book. And from that came the birth of being a children's author. I started writing books and haven't stopped since then. I just really having it just keep steamrolling ahead. And my ultimate goal is going to be animation. So I'm going to continue to write children's books, continue to write books, continue to be creative, continue to feed that need to be creative, and hopefully get to the small or the big screen somewhere near you soon.
Okay, nice. So, do you have any books that we can see right now?
Absolutely. So my first book is another alphabet book, Daddy. So here's the book itself.
Okay.
The title came from being sarcastic and using sarcasm. Every title that I could think of for a children's book was already used for an alphabet book. So I decided to use sarcasm and title the book Another Alphabet Book, Daddy, as if there aren't enough alphabet books. So the book is full of rhyme patterns, alliteration. I'll give you a sample of it. So this is the letters A and B. Anthony the alligator ate apples all day. B, Bobby the bluebird bounced the ball and wanted to play. Can you think of any other words that begin with the letters A or B? So what I did was, because I was reading the books to my daughter, letting her know that things were from the imagination of the author, I wanted to write a book with real world application, with things that she can actually touch, see, feel, that were real. And everything in the book was something that was relevant to real life. She didn't have to ask what that is and not know what it is, having it come from the imagination of the author, other than humanizing the characters and giving them, attributes that are only attributes of humans. So kangaroos can't really talk. Alligators probably don't really eat apples. I mean, they may, but they don't go out of their way to eat apples. Birds don't probably play basketball, but, they who knows? Like, we don't know what birds do when we're not around them. So yeah, so that's just a sample of what the books are. There's the alphabet book, and then the follow-up book is Another Numbers Book Daddy.
Okay.
So this book utilizes the same characters from the first book, and we go A through Z in this book. And at the end of our book, we show, because we want to help the kids out, we want to show them all the alphabets in capital and lowercase letters so that they can get a visual of what these letters look like. People have actually even used my book in other countries to teach English. So it's not just for kids, so adults can have the books too. I think an ideal age for the young ones is about 3 to 8, depending on their reading level. And for, or again, if you're teaching English, you can be any age to learn English. And then with my numbers book, what I decided to do, I also dabble in finances, so I understand the importance of numbers. Therefore, with my numbers book, I started with the number 0. And there's a reason,
Okay.
there's a reason for that. If you have 0 in your bank account, that's a real number. However, if you have 500 in your bank, that's a real number too. So zeros, you know, they're not just placeholders, those are real numbers. And with the 0, that's how we start, and we go through the number 20. Again, utilizing all of the same characters, more rhyme patterns, more alliteration, fun hip hop characters. So we teach them, you know, how to identify the letters the numbers, as well as how to properly spell them. So
Okay.
that's what we got. The books are available on Amazon.com, as well as you can have a link from my website, which is www.anotherbookcollection.com. I'm showing my age because nobody uses www anymore. So,
They don't.
Anotherbookcollection.com. So the books are
Okay. Yep.
available in paperback and Kindle format.
Okay. So what other books do you have in the works?
Well, right now, we are working on a book, well, actually 2 books to come out by the end of the year. We are going to do a colors book and a coloring book. So the actual coloring book will be an activity book that will complement the colors book. So we're going to do the rainbow of colors in the colors book. Again, rhyme patterns, alliteration. I have a hip hop background, so I utilize those skills of hip hop, alliteration, rhyming, poetry in order to get my stories across. And the coloring book will utilize the same pictures, and then the kids get to figure out from their imagination what color is an elephant or what color is an alligator or any of the other characters in the book. The books are all full of animals. Whatever the favorite animal is probably in all of these books or some of these books. We'll definitely touch on a lot of the animals, whether they're domestic pets or animals out in the wild. So it's definitely a fun thing. So there's a colors book, coloring book coming. And then we also have another book that's in development that will be overcoming fears. So we all have a litany of fears in life, whether it's being afraid of the dark or being afraid of moving to that next level or moving, being promoted to the next level and looking at what your life will be like on the other side of the fence. We always have fears, and there's always, there's the quote that everything you want and desire is on the other side of fear. So in order for us to get to what we want and desire, we have to overcome our fears. So that will be the next book that will be out following the colors and coloring book. We also have puzzles. And again, I'm working towards animation. So end goal is animation. So stay ready. Stay ready.
Okay. So are the puzzles available now, or is that something that's in the works for the end of the year?
Right. So the puzzles will probably be coming out next year. So the format for this year is the colors and coloring book. Next year, puzzles, and be on the lookout for, again, the book to overcome fears. So that may be in the works for 2021. 2020 has been a humdinger of a year. So we're going to get through this year, and we're going to hope for better things to come next year. But we're here. We're here, enjoying things, taking it one day at a time, right?
That's it. That's it. So then tell us, what are you most proud of
in writing the books and the development of how everything came together for your first two books?
I think more than anything, setting an example for the youth. I find myself going to a lot of book fairs, expos, as well as schools, and I do speaking engagements with kids and just encouraging kids that they can live their dreams out loud, just showing them that you can have a concept and you can bring it to pass. I like to tell the kids if they can conceive it and believe it, they can achieve it. So they first have to conceive whatever it is that they have, believe that they can do it and then achieve it. But not only for kids, it's for adults as well. Sometimes we get in our own ways as adults and not believe that we can accomplish certain goals because we may say we're too old for it, or maybe that time of their life has passed. But we can always strive for more, strive to be greater, strive to be better, and accomplish and achieve our goals.
Okay, very good. So then, what sets another book collection apart from any other children's book or alphabet book that's out there?
Okay, great. That's a great question. So I am, of course, an African American Black author, Black Lives Matter. So coming from a Black author, my perspective is a little different, and as well as my background in hip hop and poetry. So it's kind of like, when you would read a Dr. Seuss book, you would enjoy the rhyme patterns and, the things that Dr. Seuss would say in the book. So my book has a lot of rhyme patterns and alliteration as well. However, again, real world applications on everything. So if you want to teach your kids about things, you can pick up the book and they'll learn a lot from being able to read the book and understand that these things are real, actual things that they can see in the real world, as well as have fun with reading. I've had numerous parents tell me that they had their children have memorized the books because it's almost like a song. I'll give an example. My favorite is always the letter W, but we'll do W and X. So Walter the walrus lived in the water, but he knew a warthog, a weasel, and a woodpecker named Jim. Xavier the fox may need an x-ray if his excited xylophone playing friend wants to see through him. Okay, so we've got a lot of tongue twisting here, right? But these are all real things: warthog, weasel, and woodpecker, a walrus, a fox. The xylophone playing friend happens to be a bee. Again, I'll give a shout out to my illustrator, Eldorado Jones. El came with the concept with the J's, with the gems, because when I wrote it, well, my concept was that the warthog, weasel, and the woodpecker, just the woodpecker's name was Jim, but Walter knew all three of them. So the way El came with it, he made all three of them the gems. So they are the three gems, which is a concept that came from the illustrator, Eldorado Jones, Lamar Greer Jr., prolific MC. He's a actor. He's also a illustrator. So shout out to you, brother L. Thank you for bringing our stories to life. The way that it came about was I wrote the stories. I sent it to him, pitched it to him. He was in. He did the illustrations. The first book took about 18 months from concept and writing to having a finished product in hand, and It couldn't have been done without that brother. So I want to make sure that I don't get too far into this interview without acknowledging the illustrator. So he's done both books, the alphabet book, as well as, that's the backside of it, as well as the numbers book. So definitely want to shout out to Eldorado Jones, Lamar Greer Jr. If you guys are looking to, have some illustrations done, please feel free to reach out to him. The brother's on Instagram. He's on Facebook, Twitter, all the other sites that you can find him, Lamar Greer Jr., or I would probably look up Eldorado Jones. Did I answer your question? I probably went on for a little bit. Did I answer your question? I hope I did.
Yeah. Yes. You answered the question, because the question was what sets you apart from other book authors. So you did answer that.
Okay.
And we will tag Lamar Greer. We will tag his Instagram page also to this video. So if anybody is looking for illustrations or something of that sort, you can definitely reach out to him because we will tag his Instagram page below also. So then, what challenges have you had to overcome with getting your book published out there to consumers, trying to make sure you stay on top of the representation of your book, that it doesn't get because I know a lot of people, they only look for books or children books that have African American figures on there, or that can show um you know, a cartoon of color. And because your books have animals in it, how do you overcome getting your book out there to people who are really not looking or don't know what to expect from the animals that they see on the front cover?
Okay, that's a bit of a loaded question. So it was a couple questions in one. Yeah.
It is. That's
Okay.
what I do. That's what I do.
All right. So the first part, challenges to overcome. I believe that one of the greatest challenges to overcome is getting people to believe in what you have. It's one thing to write a book, but another thing to sell a book, to get people to say, hey, that book is worthy of me giving up my $10.99 in order to purchase a copy and put it in my library and read it to my children, or have my children read it to themselves or read it to each other, what have you. So that's one of the biggest challenges, is getting other people to believe and see your vision. And I think the way to overcome that is by you having the faith and the belief in what you're doing and moving forward and making it available, and just really you have to be your own champion. You have to champion the cause for what it is that you're bringing to life, which is, a book or a story or a movie, a play, whatever it is, or a business, whatever it is that you have to believe in it. I had so much faith and belief in my children's books that I created a company, which is Anotherbook Collection. Anotherbook Collection is a company that I created in order to publish my books and in order to get them out there to the public. After writing my first book, it took a long time in order to even find a company that I wanted to publish or not even publish, but in order to print my book. So it's, a lot of painstaking research. I thought about going the traditional route of sending the books into different companies and allow them to play God with my work and decide if it was worthy of being published. But I decided against that and decided to bet on me, bet on my skills, bet on my talents, bet on what El Dorado Jones, aka Lamar Greer, and I have done together. So what we did was we put together a phenomenal book. Both of the books that are out right now are teacher approved, as well as the books going forward. So teachers have given the books the green light, saying that these books are worthy of being in any school. KinderCare is one of my biggest advocates, so I want to shout out to KinderCare. My book is in probably about 50 KinderCare locations, as well as the books are in libraries and numerous homes of parents and teachers and just people, grandparents as well, just people that are interested in the education of their children. In order to overcome not having African American, characters that are in the books, these books are hip hop books, really, at the end of the day. They're real cool books that have, again, it's a hip hop feel to the book. So really, they're hip hop children books that they don't need to necessarily have an African American look to them in order for them to have an African American feel to them, because it came from here. It came from the right place. It came from an African American or a Black author that gave his all, because I decided that instead of just being concerned about my children's education, I would do something about that concern and get involved with writing books, as well as just really putting out a positive image whenever I'm, doing the book fairs, the expos, going to schools, doing book readings, just positioning myself in the best light and representing us in the best way I possibly can. Right. There was another question. I think I answered two of them. There may have been a third one.
No, I think you answered all three of them.
I got them? Okay.
Yeah, you got all of them. You got all of them. So a little birdie told me that back in 2012, a school put on I guess we would say a play of your characters of the whole alphabet book.
Yes,
Do
yes.
we have video of this that we can possibly put on our channel so we can
Uh,
see?
it,
Because
it
that's awesome that they would do that.
it depends on how you edit it. So if you're able to edit it where you can splice in some video, you definitely can. We could also, if you're able to edit it, we could splice in some still shots. You can do that. But there is a school in Burnham, Illinois, that believes so much in my book that the third grade class, it was a third or fourth grade, I believe it was a third grade class, they put on a play, uh, another alphabet book daddy play. It was phenomenal. So the kids read the book as well as they dressed up as each of the characters in the book and acted out the scenes. It was amazing. It was heartwarming. It was touching. Uh, the honor of having children dedicate some of their time and the teachers to dedicate their time in order to have the kids put on a play for my book was amazing. I guess that there's nothing else I can compare it to. Like just
I'm sure.
I
How
was I was
awesome
in
is
awe.
that?
I was in awe of it. So I am really amazed at the amount of the warm welcome that I've received from educators and children and parents about my books that I've written. So if you haven't checked out the book, which maybe you haven't because you may not have heard about it, go to Amazon.com, check out the book, Kindle, paperback. Go to my website, anotherbookcollection.com. You can take a look. I have multiple pages. You can read the press page. You can look at there's multiple pages about me where you can learn about the author, learn about me, find out about me. I'm heavy in the game. I'm an actor as well. I'm an MC. I'm a children's author. I just try to stay busy. I don't want any grass to grow under my feet, and I don't want to take anything to the grave with me. So I want to leave it all here while I'm here.
Okay, okay. So then what would you tell someone looking to start writing children books?
Just do it.
Yeah,
Just do it.
just
Like the old Nike ad. Just do it.
so
It
it's no
sounds
like
easy.
blueprint.
Yeah,
Right, right.
I want to simplify. I don't want to make it too. I don't want people to overthink it. Just do it. Start writing. Start wherever you are. If you have an idea, a concept, a thought, write it down, jot it down, don't lose it. I know people that may have dreams at night about things and they wake up in the morning and they're like, man, I had a phenomenal dream about something and they didn't write it down and then they lose it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I said that I could write a better book, I put my daughter to bed and I sat down and I wrote the book. Immediately, I wrote the book. It took me an hour to write the book, but the rest of the 18 months was the the work that was required in order to bring my dream to life, in order to actually have a paperback copy of my book, to have a Kindle version of the book. So that's really what takes the time, is the research and making sure that the companies that do it with you are the right companies to partner with and not just sell your dreams. I actually auditioned a couple of times for Shark Tank, which was
Okay.
really great. It was a great experience, but I always had in my mind a a percentage of the company that I was willing to give up or not willing to give up. Not willing to sell 100% of my company, not even willing to give up a controlling interest in my company in order to make my dreams come to pass. I want to be able to steer the ship in the right direction in order to get
Mm-hmm.
to a successful port. If we're using an analogy of boats,
Right.
right? In order to get to the port, I want to make sure that I am the right captain to do that. And sometimes it takes a little longer than you would like for it to take, but I don't think there's ever a deadline on being successful.
Nope,
Whether
because it's God's time, not our time.
absolutely it's not in our
Hmm.
time. So Although I may have wanted to be successful 20 years ago or 10 years ago, maybe next year might be the year. Maybe 2 years from now might be the year. Maybe after I get through with the colors book, the coloring book, the book about being afraid of fear, then I am going to do some books with African American characters that'll look like us. So that's actually in the works as well. So I already have the work in titles, and I'm working on concepts now. So I will have some books that will be more representative of what we look like, so that little boys and little girls can look at themselves as the heroes or the sheroes of their own
Mhm.
stories. So, the alphabet books, the numbers book, the colors books, even the book being Overcoming Your Fears, those are for the universal appeal. That's for everyone. Anyone can see themselves in these characters. But the African American characters may be a little, a little not as broad of a field, but a
Right.
little more narrow. But it will also show that we can be heroes. I mean, whether a character is Caucasian or African American or Hispanic or what have you, I know as a little boy, Spider-Man, I was all about Spider-Man. He didn't look like me.
Hmm.
People was about Batman and, Superman. Superman, rocks, right? But he doesn't look like us. So it was amazing that a few years ago when we were able to finally see ourselves in Black Panther, that it
Hmm.
got the universal appeal that it did. Like, why shouldn't little kids of other ethnic backgrounds and racial, backgrounds, or whatever? Why can't they look at an African American superhero and champion that superhero and want to emulate that superhero? So I
Right.
think that now might be the right time in order for us to really get more acceptance in what we're doing, and not just be for our culture or for our people, but have mass appeal.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. I love the books. The books are absolutely awesome. We are going
Thank
to
you.
see if you can find that video, and we'll try to piece it together so we can get that out there, because that is absolutely awesome that the school will have their kids put on something like that. That is absolutely awesome. So we
Thank you.
definitely want to be able to share that with the world. And I know down below I did put where we could get your book from. So anotherbookcollection.com, amazon.com. So if we go to Amazon, do we just search the title of the book?
Yes, you can search the title of the book, Another Alphabet Book Daddy. It'll pop up. Or
Okay.
Another Numbers Book Daddy. The title will
Okay.
pop up. Again, I use the same wordplay, the same sarcasm I used with the first book, I use on the second book. If I may, I gave a sample of what's in the alphabet book, so I'll give a quick
Mhm.
sample of what's in the numbers book.
Oh, the number.
The numbers book. So Zachary the zigzagging zebra dreamed that he had 0 stripes as he slept in his bed holding his toys at night. So if you can imagine a zebra dreaming that he had 0 stripes, what would that zebra look like?
That zero will be scared.
Is he black or is he white? Like Michael Jackson
Mm.
said, does it matter? Oh. So that's just an example. So 0. So there we go. Just wanted to give a sample of both books so that, people can get an idea of what they're looking at getting into. The books are available. Please feel free to support. Get multiple copies if you'd like to. Get them if you don't have a kid that is in the proper age range, that can appreciate the book, and you know somebody that does. Get it as a gift for somebody else. Give it as a gift.
Oh,
Give the gift that keeps on giving to another child in your life. I know that I've had books that we've passed down from the older kids to the younger kids. I'm the youngest of 7. I read a whole lot of books that weren't books given to me. They were given to my older siblings, and they rolled down to me. So we can continue to do that. Let's make that a tradition that continues in all of our households. And again, if we don't do paperback anymore, get a Kindle format. The books are available in Kindle.
okay, great, great. So let me ask, I got one last question. So if somebody wanted an autographed copy of the book, can they just DM you at the Another Book Collection at your Instagram page,
They can,
or go
yes.
to your website? Okay.
Absolutely. They can hit me up on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. So you can get at me at either one of those two, Another Book Collection. is the company Another Book Collection. Nothing tricky on the spelling of it. Really simplistic. Uh, I like simplistic. I like simple. Or you can even email me if you need to. Anotherbookcollection@gmail.com. I try to stay available everywhere. So
Okay.
yes, you can get at me on Instagram. Get at me from my website. You can get at me on Facebook. Email me. Anotherbookcollection@gmail.com. Get at me. I can
Okay.
autograph a book and send it to you. You would, of course, send payment. I would autograph the book to the child of your desire, whichever the child is you want me to autograph it to, and send it off to you.
Oh, very good.
Before we go, I want to make sure I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of your show, bless your show, talk to your audience. I know that you have an audience that's unique to you. I've done other interviews before, but every audience is different. So I want to thank you
Right.
for allowing me the opportunity in order to share my story with your audience. Much appreciation and gratitude. Thank you.
Are very welcome. Thank you for accepting the invitation to join us here on the Black Chair Talk. And we just like to spotlight small businesses so that people who don't know or don't necessarily know you're out there, if they're on my page or they have friends, they can share it. And so then everybody knows, because we're looking to birth some millionaires. So we need
Amen.
everybody to know what's going on.
Amen.
Absolutely.
And before we sign off, I want to say that what we need more today in this world is love. So I love you. I love everybody watching. Thank you all so much. Let's continue to share and spread love with one another, because there's enough hatred in the world and we need to push that aside. Enough greed in the world, push that aside. Enough opportunities for us to misunderstand each other. Let's push all of that aside and focus on love and what we have in common.
Absolutely. Love you right back. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye bye. Okay, hang on here. That was absolutely an awesome interview. You guys, please go and check that interview out. If you're looking at on a replay, please go and support the author. I will drop and tag the Instagram page along with the Facebook page and the website. And I will also tag the illustrator that he mentioned in here. So definitely go and support. Thank you guys, as always, for joining me on Black Chair Talk Small Business Spotlight. I will see you guys next Saturday. Have a good weekend. Remember, persistence brings forth transformation. So go out and choose to have a good day. Bye.